Finally, your host has come back to podding. Yes, I've been away for quite a while. Quite a while. I don't think I even dropped a new episode all year. But I'm finally back. One of the homies reached out to me and was just like, you know what? You gotta come back. The street needs you. I was just like, I don't know, man. There's too many people podding. But they need my opinion. They need what I bring to the table. Now, there's a bunch of shit I just didn't care about throughout the year. It was hard to come back. It was hard to come back. Very hard. But once he told me that, instantly went right back to the drawing board. Now, I'm not using my official mic. I'm using my gaming headset, so the audio may be a little off, but give me a little bit. Let me transition back into where I was. Probably go even further. Again, I just like this to get my ideas out there. I'm not an idea person. Like to hear people think and why they think the way they think. I like that. It's the type of person I am. Like a lot of people's like visual, like they hear like again, that level of creativity, that's cool and everything. But the idea and getting people to agree or disagree with your idea being controversial, I should say, outspoken, just things like that. It just does something different for me. This is why I'm a Twitter person. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of bullshit on Twitter, but I like the idea. But those people who want to hide behind, the whole I'm going to say something, then make sure that no one else can say anything, I hate those people. Those people are a problem. They're a scourge of humanity. But let's get into it, alright? I should probably start with the intro. I gave you a little something. Let me just read it back. Welcome to the Beantown Bully podcast. I'm your host, Basha, and thank you for letting me back into your ear holes after I've been gone so long. I know I said I was gonna get some milk, and I just never came back. It just bees like that sometimes. It just bees like that sometimes. But let's talk about some Xbox news. Let's talk about Redfall. Another game has been sent out to get destroyed by the masses. Actually, by Xbox. If you already played Back for Blood, you're basically playing the same thing with a different skin. It's a different skin change. At this point, what can Xbox do? Why are they losing? Why can't they just grasp the thing? They have the money. Let's not pretend like they don't have the money. They have the money. So what is going on? They are fighting for their life right now. All those Xbots, all those people who bleed green, where are they at right now? Get up! Just get up, dog. Like, I don't even know if you should throw in the towel, but you are getting massacred. This might be the back-to-back gens that you haven't dropped anything that was remotely good for the industry or even good for any of the people who solidly play on Xbox. Now people's like, oh, they got Game Pass. Yes, Game Pass is like $60 a month. I can't even compete with the actual amount of money that they're spending. And all these devs coming out saying, oh, we put our game in Game Pass so we didn't make a lot of money. Yes, that's what happens. If you don't believe in your game, you put it in Game Pass. Stop it. You know what the deal is. Trying to say, oh, we would have made more money. Of course you would have made more money if you didn't go into Game Pass. Because then they'll give people the option to actually buy the game. But the way Game Pass works right now, I don't think it's actually something that Microsoft itself can actually sustain. Well, I should say sustain. They have the money. They can continue, losing if they want. But they need to. What they really need to do. I'm actually going off the cuff. I had the whole thing written off. But what they actually really need to do is up the price in Game Pass, shorten the what's it called? Let's say the rentals instead of it just being Game Pass for so long. You guys have to change that. At this point, you should really change that because again, the model is too lax. And I'm just talking about a business standpoint. If we're talking about gamer standpoint, they're definitely getting what they want, but it's like some of these guys don't even want to build a game. And again, if the game is locked down into the Xbox ecosystem, it's just going out to die. Like without the PC with Xbox, it literally has nothing because no one's actually trying to buy the console. The best thing is that they have is the Xbox Play Anywhere with the first party titles. That's the best thing they have. And again, when they drop out games that's literally like every other game, Back for Blood, Redfall, basically the architect was from Left 4 Dead. What are we saying now? What are we saying? Why haven't they figured out a way to do heavy mod support and shake up the industry? That's what they need to figure out. Figure out how to do heavy mod support on their games and let it do what it needs to do. Now I know that's gonna be like more funds and everything like that for it, but if they're the first ones who could figure out how to get mod support on the console space, make sure that the people's creating these mods get some type of equity in it, like, oh, if if people buy these mods, they can make up a certain percentage of whatever they're doing, give it a 70-30, 70 to the user, 30 to Microsoft, whoever made the mods, things like that. Because some of these mods, let's just talk about Skyrim mods in general. Some of these mods, they're fully voice acted. Like they've done what they needed to do. And again, I went on a little tangent about Microsoft and Redfall, but it just needs to be said. What are they doing? Again, they need to shake up the industry in general. That's what they have to do. It's not an if then. It's just it has to happen. They have to shake up the industry. It doesn't matter what's being said right now. If they do not shake up the industry, it's literally they're fucking themselves over. It just has to happen. Because Game Pass, cool. PlayStation has their own version of Game Pass. But I don't think they're locked in all their games in there. Like, it's not like, oh, our games are in there now, so you don't need to purchase our games. I actually still purchase my games. Even though they're digital, I still purchase my games. Like, again, I just bought Halo Infinite just to play that with the homies. I could have just bought Game Pass and played it, but I don't like Game Pass dictating what I play. And that might be a little weird to say, but I'm just like, I don't want to jump into one of these games as a service thing, and then it dictates when I want to play a game, how I play a game. The same thing with I just feel like it's just something they just need to figure out, because it's like this right here. Oh, this drops in Game Pass, and at a certain level, like, oh, it's gonna be here for a couple months or whatnot. I have to get around to actually playing that game before it gets removed. Again, that might be not a problem for most people, but the people who have ADD, who like to jump game to games, you know who I'm talking about. I was once one of you guys, but I'm trying to streamline and actually play some of these games. It is what it is. You guys just need to bunker down and finish your games. The actual beating the games would probably show Microsoft that some of these games are actually worth creating a second part to. Because that's another thing. They give you these games just because it's in Game Pass, but most of you guys are not even finishing the games. Because you know that you can just come back to it anyway. But here's the issue. When the games are dropped, they're looking at, let's say the first couple months, they're looking at the completion, the hours played. They're always talking about how many people did this, how many people did that in the games, when they don't want to give you actual sale numbers. They need to focus on what's actually hitting for them. And right now, they're grasping at straws. Now, we can say a bunch of things about, well, they could try this, they could try that. But it's been 2 generations, and it's just, they don't even know what the identity is at this point. Again, Game Pass can't last. Game Pass will only last for so long. That's the real thing. And until they figure out what's actually going to happen with Game Pass, we can say it's kind of crazy. We already know the price has to go up. It's not sustainable where it is. People are like, oh yes, Microsoft is a business. They need to make their money back. And with games like Redfall and Back 4 Blood being your main architect and what you guys deliver, it's just crazy. Because, again, Xbox was kind of known for being a first-person shooter-centric system. PlayStation had the third person action adventure type games. Everybody has their little architect. Nintendo has their little kiddie games, nostalgia, basically the nostalgia box that will repeatedly sell you the same game over and over, and you're locked into that. Xbox itself is not doing anyone any favors by buying up these studios, knowing that you're not going to be able to churn a real profit with these games until like 10 years later, which doesn't make any sense. You know how you can get your profit up? You buy the studio and then you make it Xbox exclusive. The Activision deal didn't really make sense to me if you're going to give PlayStation a 10-year deal. You're going to wait 10 years to actually make a real profit? Don't get me wrong. They're going to make money outside of making making these games multiple platforms. They're definitely going to make money off that. But don't you not want to lock people into your ecosystem? Lock people into the Xbox brand? I know they just stopped. Oh, they didn't just stop, but they dropped the whole $1 Game Pass thing. I was actually paying for Game Pass. And they want to sell people PC Game Pass. And I'm like, again, Game Pass Ultimate, cool or whatnot, but most of their target audience just have they just have an Xbox. Don't get me wrong, there's older, like, let's just say, the people who are primed to be gaming, those are the younger generation. Don't get me wrong, there is those people who grew up gaming like that. Those people are older who make their own money. They have multiple consoles, i.e. the PlayStation or a PC. I should say console, but they got PC, Nintendo Switch. They have those options, so that really affect them. But they're trying to seek into a new generation, keep their brand strong, and build up. Again, PlayStation's been heavy hitting. The brand is strong in PlayStation. But if these little kids only want to play Fortnite and all these free games, it doesn't really matter, does it? But if they can play it anywhere, why play on Xbox? That's a real good question. And Phil Spencer, I think his feet's to the fire right now, and he needs to figure out how they can change this around. Again, even if he implements anything like hot, they're probably going to fire him before it even gets fully acknowledged. Or, I should say, replace him, fire him, however you want to do it. Whatever you want to say. Let him go. It's going to take a couple years for the things that he's probably in the works implementing in the background to actually flourish. Now, let's go way back into, again, I'm still going off the cuff. What about Fable news? I just feel like there's not enough information about the games you want to hear. You know how I think that Microsoft should pay into buying the names, but buying the rights to create some of these games. So if they don't have enough games, but they have the talent because they're buying everybody, Rainbow Six Vegas 3, work on that, or use your variant on a Halo project. Make another ODS. A full-fledged ODST type game in the Rainbow Siege, I should say in the Rainbow Siege world, but like in the Rainbow Siege actual gameplay. That might be something that people might actually, okay. Again, let's talk about things before, let's see what the Halo universe was before the aliens attacked. You get me? Now again, it's Halo, they probably want all the aliens, It's just something I'm just throwing out there. This is something that they can sink their teeth into and do something with the IPs because, again, Halo doesn't know what it wants to do anymore. I felt like as soon as it went to open world, they made it apparent, okay, they can drop DLC, but Halo really never had real DLC for story. They didn't have any DLC for story mode, if I'm correct. So, okay. But they should have looked at how Fallout plays. They definitely should look at how Destiny plays and try to come to a happy medium in what they want to do with their open world game. Because again, you're going to have to make it, if they wanted to make this type of open world game, they can't treat it half-ass. They should have gave it the side mission, should have gave it a lot more than, checklist is off the side of the map. Like, no, they should have gave it a lot more to help with its longevity. And went hard on Xbox. But again, it's just like, you guys are making it seem like you just can't win. but Xbox can figure it out. It's not that difficult. Trust in your employees. Actually give them some real supervision. Because Redfall should have never came out looking the way it did. People are thinking it's a completely different game than what it was going to be. It's crazy. Stop giving people blank checks and sit down and have them tell you what the game's about. Again, there's going to be some trial and error, but if you've seen what Redfall was turning into in the beginning, and you really just had Black for Blood, you mean to be like, alright, we need to tailor this some other way, right? It could have just been a single player. I mean, not single player. It could have been a co-op, heavy story-driven game, and that would have been just what it is. But they didn't, and they dropped the ball.